we won't be gaffing out today at all. Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great day. I know I'm having a great day, and I want to share that with you. So what we have today here is the dead tree you see behind me. It's a dead elm tree. It's, I don't know, maybe 20 inches in diameter, something like that. It's nothing huge, nothing crazy. It is over some nice landscaping and some nice yard. We're gonna bring it down nice and gentle. Gonna use some rigging. Nothing extraordinary, but some straightforward stuff. Something that is super important when climbing dead trees, and is really generally important for climbing, you know, any tree, is to do some sort of tree inspection before you go up. So as I'm walking around here, I'm looking for signs of base decay, bark delamination, things like that. Look at what you can look down here at the base, and then as you ascend the tree, it's good to keep an eye out for rotten spots and knot holes. You can see we have some bark delamination up there. It's worth noting that there's a lot of fine twigs on this tree. It hasn't had enough time to drop those. It hasn't been dead long enough for that. When we put the GRCS on here and gave the tree a good squeeze, it did delaminate some of the bark down here. So this tree has probably been dead a few seasons. If I had to guess, it's probably been more than one season. But you know, I tapped on the bottom with the hammer and stuff like that, and she didn't sound hollow. There wasn't any mushy stuff, and so I think it's suitable to climb. We will do our standard bounce test on the rope before we go up. We should do that on any tree, dead or alive. And yeah, we're gonna make this tree as safe as possible for ourselves. We don't want to climb it unless we know we can make it safe. There's a lot of tree work that has a little bit of room for error. You know, if you cut a tree or cut a piece a little bit too big and accidentally brush a structure or something like that. But there are certain parts of tree work that have no room for error. You only get one chance at your life, you know, and there's nothing that's worth shortcutting or taking a risk over that puts your life at risk. So as some of you may know, I do a good bit of contract climbing these days, and so today I've got the privilege of working with someone that you guys probably know. If you've hung out in the comment sections of my videos or a lot of other videos, I think, I'm sure he's put some comments on August Honeggy's videos and that kind of thing. But I'm working for a fella named Osage John, and here he is.
Hey YouTube.
He's gonna be our ground guy today, and he's gonna give us his best hand at running the ropes, and he's gonna try the GRCS for the first time. We don't need to lift anything, but it's handy even just for lowering. So we'll give him a shot, and then you know, don't be too hard on him in the comments. He's a climber, not a groundie. Alrighty, so we're all hooked up here. Got our tethers and our ascenders put on. We'll give this rope a bounce test. It's kind of run through some nasty brush up there, but we'll work through it as we go up. So I like to step on an ascender, kind of leap into it and fall, and there we go. That feels pretty good. I'm happy with that. So we'll hook our neck lanyard in, and up we go. We're giving this tree a good look-see as we go up. You know, we can only see one side of the tree. Ooh, there's some gnarly grain patterns in this thing. If anybody could explain that kind of stuff to me, I'd be interested in knowing about that. Fight our way through some of this brush. Whee! Alrighty, and we're there. Not a real long climb, just a few detours. Yeah, I'd say bark delamination is definitely present. How fun. we won't be gaffing out today at all. What I'm gonna do on this branch, just because we want to be super gentle on our rigging point up there, just because, you know, the tree is dead. But we're gonna make a nice open face notch and hopefully let that branch get most of the way down and around before it really puts any whooping on the rope. I asked John down there to run the rope good for us, and I'm sure he will. Look at that, that was great. Now how is a fella supposed to spike a tree like this? Bark coming down. Hey, you could about build a canoe out of that stuff. So I've got it tied closer to the tree than the rigging point is.
All right.
So it's gonna swing down and then the butt's gonna yank away from the tree.
Okay.
So I imagine you've been in that situation before.
Yeah.
There's a point where that branch is gonna straighten out and really shock the rope.
Yeah.
If you can cushion that, that'll be primary. Oh, beautiful. That was perfect. Nice. Oh my goodness.
Got it right that time.
Yeah, that's perfect. I gotta come work for you more often. So with all this bark, you know, coming off and there not being any more texture to the tree, I am trying to tie on whenever I can to something that will keep it from sliding off. Yes, I could half hitch it, you know, put a half hitch or marl and then tie running bowline. This system just works out really slick for me. It's really easy to help keep cycle time high, or no, keep cycle time low. That's what I mean. And so I want to try and use it, but to keep this safe and to keep the risk of it sliding off the end low, I'm trying to use every opportunity I get to hook it above a nub or a branch or something. I was going to even just hook it above this, but you know, I thought, oh, there's one right there. Why risk it when we don't have to? So I'll probably still cut this nice and low, and I'll probably have John give me a little bit of rope as it comes around. That way that butt doesn't come up at me. Ah, safety first. Real good. Really good. Okay, what we got going on here now is we're gonna rig these tops out of the tree. It's just, we're at that point in the tree where it's time, and we got a little bit of brush down there we're gonna deal with, but I need to move the rigging point up for it, so it's time to do these while we're up here. So because we're gonna have to negative rig these, I've gone ahead and put my sling on and just kind of propped up the slack so it's not dangling in my cut. I'll make a face cut, and then I already have my sling on, so I keep hitting this thing. All I gotta do is quick connect these and we'll be ready to go. It is a little breezy today, and on breezy days especially, I don't like sitting up here with a face cut made, dilly-dallying, trying to tie on something. So I like to make it nice and quick and swift. I also try to wait until I have the groundy's attention to go ahead and make that cut. That way I'm not sitting here yelling and hollering and waiting for him, you know, if he's in the middle of a task or something. So that's the way I do it. That looks good. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm good. Go ahead. Ready?
Ready when you are.
Here we go. Oh, brother. Woo, baby. That was nice. So smooth, I didn't even have to hold on. I like it. You may have noticed I started to unwrap my right thumb. Got a bad habit of pushing with that thumb. And it's pretty important, I guess. I mean, I'm no expert, but it's pretty important to keep both those thumbs wrapped around those handles. So, trying to get better at that. John was just telling me that this tree was looked at by a couple other companies. One didn't even give an estimate. The other one gave an estimate and then backed out. And it's a shame. I mean, it's a tree that can be done safely. It's just important to really know your stuff and be able to look at things and truly determine if they're safe or if they're not. Which is, you know, a result of education. And I am by no means the smartest fellow out there. That's certainly the truth. But it just goes to show that if you're going to be in this business, it's definitely worth taking some time to look at some books and talk to folks, and you know, really try to soak up some information, and not just be a monkey in a tree, because that's how we all start, right? We all start out just kind of doing it because it looks like fun and we want to swing around. But definitely worth learning some things. Got ourselves braced up here nice. Once we cut the brush out of this thing, there's not going to be any shock load dampening, so it'll probably shake with me a little bit. But John's really good on the ropes down there, so I'm not scared.
All right, I'm ready when you are.
Here we go. Alrighty. Still a smooth ride. That was great. We tickled those trees over there. That looks like a sugar maple and a shagbark hickory, or a shellbark hickory. Maybe an expert can tell us the difference in the comment section. Alrighty, now that we got the tops out of the tree, we're gonna deal with these two limbs that are kinda just in less than favorable positions. I could certainly, you know, dice them up and get them to go through those other canopies, but because we have our GRCS down there, we can also pull them away and not have to compromise those trees, which I try to do every chance I get. You know, I want it to look like we weren't here. I don't want it to look like somebody drug a branch through those other trees. So what we'll do is we'll go down there and we'll go out past the balance point somewhere, and we'll tie our rope on, and we'll use the GRCS. I'll cut it, and we'll use the GRCS to kind of lift it back over this way. The reality is that hinge will fail before the branch gets to all the way over here. At least that's what I expect. And so it won't be perfect, but it will be better. And we'll take every chance we can get to make something better. All right, we're gonna do a little limb walking on this tree. Not something I do a whole lot of in dead trees, but this one is A-OK-O. Important part of any limb walk is to make sure you're keeping your weight in your rope. The more weight you keep in the rope, the less weight you have on the limb, and also, at least typically, the better the force that you put on the limb is applied to the limb. It's typically applied in a better direction, which can be more important than any of it, really. If you see right here, the force that I'm putting on this limb is, you know, down that direction, pretty close, though not perfectly, down the stem. If I were to just put my climb rope on here and yank on this thing straight down, you know, if I was ascending, I could probably rip this limb off the tree. But because I'm out here pushing my weight down the stem and compressing it, this limb, back to the trunk wood there, it's, you know, perfectly capable of holding me with the assistance of my climbing line, which is a secure point up there. The same principles work quite well for green trees. You can go way out on stuff that you didn't think would support you, because it wouldn't on its own, but it will with the help of your climbing rope, which is excellent. I don't think, at least as far back as I can remember, I don't think I've ever had a limb break out from under me like that. Might have had some ones that were kind of close, but I don't think I've ever had anything fail. Okay, you can go ahead and start cranking. Look at that, just coming right up out of those trees. This thing's holding on really good for being dead. It's already gone farther than I thought it would. Just about to let go. You can see it starting to dip. Keep going. That gap is closed, and so now any more pulling he does, you can keep pulling. Yep. There she goes. Woo! That gave us a little bit of a ride. That is the biggest drawback to the GRCS, is that you can't go from lowering or lifting to lowering, you know, with the snap of fingers. You gotta commit to a lift and commit to not being able to cushion it or let it run, or you gotta commit to the downward position. But as long as you know that, as long as you play your cards right, you know, it all works out fine. So, good job, John.
That worked out really well. I like this thing.
Yeah, I'm well pleased with it. And the last time I was up here, I was talking about the value of books and formal education and that kind of thing, but I don't want that to I don't want to let that go without mentioning the value of experience. I mean, experience is huge in this industry, and part of the struggle with experience in our industry is that it's kind of dangerous to get. You know, you can't go off the experience of, oh well, that tree failed and I fell, you know, to know what to do for the next tree. You gotta get your experience safely, and part of that is trying stuff, you know, before it's critical. You know, I certainly wouldn't want to rig a huge limb out of this thing first rig. You know, it's important to start small and work up, and then also to just pay attention when you're doing other trees, even paying attention to when you're falling dead trees. I remember, you know, I do plenty of dead ash trees, you know, who doesn't? But I remember when I first got started falling some dead ash trees, there were some that were just complete punk, and there wasn't much there to work with, and the hinge wood did not fare well, and they didn't hinge, and they just kind of, you know, they still kind of went and did what they wanted to, but you couldn't fight a side lean with it or anything. And then there was other trees that were still dead but hadn't decomposed, you know, started to decay yet, or, you know, the sapwood maybe a little bit soft, but the heartwood was still good, and they still had decent hinge fibers. You know, you'd cut it and fall it, and the hinge would still have all the little fibers sticking up. And kind of got the hang of that, and kind of learned what I could do and what I could, you know, what I could depend on as far as the integrity of the hinge as stuff was coming down. And you know, that was all super important, a super critical part of building my experience with dead trees. And I am by no means near the most experienced climber out there. You know, I only have a few years in this. There's many people that have way more time in trees than I do. But it's a balance, you know. Experience only teaches you what experience can teach you. And it's, you know, your ability to learn from experience is solely based on your observation or the observations of those around you. Whereas books and formal education can teach you things that are basically other people's experience. And so I guess it's, yeah, it's just somebody else's experience, right? And that really can kind of save you a lot of effort and a lot of work and a lot of bad experience if you can learn from somebody else's experiences. So all that to be said, you know, your arborist YouTube arborist education is valuable, your formal arborist education is valuable, and your personal experience education is valuable. So none of them should be neglected, at least I don't think. Okay, so the plan here is we're going to negative rig this piece out. You know, we're just to the point where we're working the tree down. Probably could fall it into some space there, but we've got a rope, and I like to keep the yard nice, so we'll do it this way. Obviously, kind of running out of nubs and limbs here, so I'm going to have to tie this thing up here pretty high. It would be nice if we could get it to smack the trunk, but I don't think so. I think it's going to lean too far out here. All right, I'm tied on. I think 2 or 2.5. Yeah, we didn't hit the trunk. Ah, there it goes. That was a good run. Here she comes. Nice. We'll take it. It endoed, kind of, you know, jammed the end into the log there because I tied it close to the balance point. But that's okay. I'll take that rather than that thing sliding off on accident. Ooh, look at that hinge. I like that. See, the reaction wood is on the compression side. That's always cool. Somebody was gracious enough to leave in the comments on one of my videos that the difference between compression or reaction wood being added to the compression side or the tension side closely but not exactly follows the categories of angiosperms and gymnosperms. And for the life of me, I can't remember which does which. I can't remember which one's angiosperm. Oh, angiosperms are the ones with flowers. Gymnosperms are the ones that don't produce a flower of any kind or any kind of fruit, if I understand correctly. So like a pine cone, a pine tree with a pine cone, that's an example of a gymnosperm, where an apple tree obviously is a prime example of an angiosperm. At least I think that's right. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. Ah. ready to come down. We'll give it a little love on the tree jack here. Oh yeah, moving real easy. Not easy enough. There she goes. There she goes. Perfect.
Well, I think you're going to probably beat me, so I'll take this, even though it's a little fatter.
Okay.
And because I think your saw is going to beat mine, but
I think that might be the case, but we'll see.
yeah, we'll see.
We should tell the folks that when this saw came out, it was the best power to weight ratio saw available in the market, and when that saw came out, it was the best power to weight ratio saw available in the market. How old's that thing though?
I don't know. I bought it used. I mean, it ain't new.
Is it older than me? I mean, is that thing 25 years old, 26 years old?
I'm sure it is.
Okay.
Because I bought my 44 in the late 90s.
Okay.
I mean, because I was cutting a little bit because I was working for an excavator buddy of mine, and I had in 029 was the first saw I bought, and I'd been dabbling with tree work before 99, but 99 is when I really was like, that's it, you know, that's what I'm going to do.
Sure.
And I think the 66 was out by then.
Okay.
I'm almost positive the 46 was.
Okay.
And then the 66, so they weren't the MS yet.
Sure, sure.
But so this saw is early 90s maybe.
Okay, yeah. So it's got me
I
beat.
mean, it's got some time on her.
Yeah, yeah. That's
But-
great. Yeah, she's probably seen a few more logs than that.
Well, I guarantee you she has.
Yeah.
The old 044 that I got on the truck is worn out 5.5 bars.
5 bars. Wow.
And I just a couple of years ago I had to put a piston and rings in it because
Okay.
I was actually in a cut, and it felt like I hit a piece of metal. It sounded like it was like ding. It
Yeah.
was still running,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, pull it out because I'm like, something's wrong. I shut it off, and I'm like looking to see if there was metal that I could see in the tree, and you know, I got my flashlight. I'm looking for some shiny, and I don't see anything. Tried to start the saw. It still had some compression, but I'm like, oh
No,
yeah, something ain't good here. And I could rattle. There was a piece of the ring in the muffler, but I just put a piston and rings in it, and
It didn't tear up the jug or nothing?
nope.
Wow.
That Nika seal that they're coated with
Okay.
it looked brand new.
Wow.
I mean, there were a few little score marks from probably years of
Sure.
use, but the port was a little dinged from where a piece came
a piece
out.
of metal came through it?
But I mean, it runs fine.
Wow.
You know, so
Oh, that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible. It's probably also worth mentioning that he just cut a bunch of firewood and I just sharpened this like the other day. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. But thanks for letting me race you.
thanks. It was fun.
Oh, good. It was. That's the first slow race I've ever done, I think. Alrighty, we got it down just like we do every time, right? We got it down. We didn't tear anything up, you know, the way things need to go. And she's on the ground. So we did have a little bit of a crater here where the log landed. You know, I think you're always going to have a little bit of that. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to run to lunch. John's kind enough to buy me lunch today. So we're going to go do that. And then he's going to come back and buck this up. And I think I'll be headed back home. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.